What if I told you that nobody and nothing ever really had power over you? Not your boss, not your past, not even your worst fear. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never dare to face. The reason life feels heavy isn't because of what's happening. It's because of how you are responding. You've been taught to react, to defend, to fight for control. But what if control was the very thing keeping you stuck? What if letting go made you untouchable? This isn't about becoming cold or careless. It's about awakening to a level of awareness so deep that the noise outside no longer disturbs the silence within. In this video, I'm going to show you how to stop being a puppet of the world and start becoming the one who pulls the string. If you've ever felt like your peace depends on how others treat you, or if you've been carrying emotional triggers that hijack your day, this is for you. I'm not offering empty motivation, I'm handing you a mirror. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly why you are God, and why nothing out there can ever shake you again unless you allow it. 1. The illusion that the world is doing something to you. Most people walk around thinking life is out to get them. One bad look from a stranger ruins their day. A traffic jam becomes a personal attack, and if someone disagrees, it's war. But the truth is, nothing out there is really doing anything to you. It's your own perception giving those moments all the power they have. You're not reacting to the world, you're reacting to what you believe it means about you. Now imagine waking up one morning and deciding nothing gets to dictate your mood unless you say so. That's not fantasy. That's inner power. Try it next time someone cuts you off on the road. Instead of snapping, take a breath and ask yourself, is this really worth my peace? You'll see how fast the drama dies when you stop feeding it attention. That's how you start flipping the script. The moment you stop blaming everything around you, you start seeing the patterns inside you. That's when awareness kicks in. You begin to notice how your mind turns tiny things into personal attacks, like it's trying to protect you from some invisible threat. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll see there's no real enemy, just unexamined beliefs hiding behind emotional reactions. The game changes when you realize you've been handing out the remote control to your emotional state like candy. Anyone could press a button and make you react. But the more you take that remote back, the more you stop playing defense. And here's the thing. Once you start doing this, it won't be long before you begin noticing what the world is really reflecting back to you. 2. The world mirrors your inner wounds. Let's say someone calls you lazy. You feel a sting, not because it's true, but because a small part of you fears it might be. That sting, that's not about them. That's a wound you've been carrying around, probably since childhood. The world isn't attacking you. It's holding up a mirror. It's showing you what still hurts so you can finally face it and heal. Think about how two people can hear the same comment and have opposite reactions. One shrugs it off, the other spirals into self-doubt. Same words, different wounds. This is why awareness is everything. It's not the world that's cruel. It's our unhealed perception that makes it feel that way. And until we face what's inside, we keep blaming what's outside. You don't need to fix the world. You just need to get curious about what it's revealing. If someone's silence makes you anxious, maybe you're still chasing validation. If a friend's success triggers envy, maybe it's time to look at what you're denying yourself. These are golden moments, not to judge yourself, but to grow. Real strength is in turning the mirror inward. The moment you stop resisting the reflection and start owning what you see, everything shifts. Life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts becoming a classroom. And here's where it gets really interesting. The deeper you look into the mirror, the more you begin to see that you're not the wounded image at all. You're something far more powerful than that. 3. You are not your reactions. You are the awareness behind them. Most people don't even notice they're reacting. Someone says something and boom, instant anger, sadness, defensiveness, like a switch got flipped. But here's the truth. You're not the switch. You're the one watching it being flipped. That's awareness. That's the real you, the calm observer behind the noise. And once you start identifying with that instead of the chaos, life gets a whole lot lighter. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, but instead of being tossed around, you're just watching it pass. That's the difference between living as your reactions and living with awareness. The next time you feel triggered, don't try to fix anything, just pause and observe. Wow, my chest is tight, my mind's racing, I feel like yelling. That simple act of noticing gives you space to choose, and that's where your power is. The mind wants you to believe every thought is urgent, every emotion is a fact, every reaction is necessary. But that's just conditioning. You were never taught to slow down and witness it all. Yet once you do, you realize something wild. Most of what you used to stress over wasn't even real. It was just stories playing in your head, unchecked and unchallenged. And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice being that observer, the stronger it gets. Over time, that awareness becomes your default mode. You no longer react to everything like it's a threat. You become grounded, steady, and almost immune to the noise. And right there, in that stillness, something deeper begins to open up. A door most people never even realize exists. 4. Emotional triggers are doorways to freedom. Every time something rattles you, there's gold hidden underneath. But most people miss it because they're too busy running from the discomfort. Instead of leaning in, they scroll, they argue, they numb out. But here's the secret. That irritation, that tight feeling in your chest, that flare-up. It's not a problem, it's a signal. Your awareness is knocking, saying, hey, there's something here to look at. Let's make it practical. Say you're scrolling social media and see someone celebrating a win. Your stomach drops, envy, frustration, maybe even guilt. Pause. Instead of brushing it off or pretending you don't care, ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Maybe you're playing small. Maybe you've been avoiding a dream. That trigger is showing you where you're still stuck. It's an invitation to grow. The problem isn't the trigger, it's how we respond to it. Most people react without reflection, but if you can sit with the feeling, breathe into it, and stay present, something shifts. You begin to see the root instead of just the symptom. It's like pulling weeds. Once you get to the base, it doesn't grow back. That's how healing happens. Not through avoidance, but through courageous attention. And what's crazy is, the more you do this, the less power your triggers have over you. It's not that life stops challenging you, it's that you stop taking it so personally. You begin to welcome the triggers, knowing each one is a stepping stone. And slowly, without even trying to force it, your reactions soften, making space for something much more stable to rise from within. 5. The illusion of control and the trap of attachment. Most people don't realize how much energy they waste trying to control what was never theirs to manage. They want people to behave a certain way, outcomes to match their expectations, and life to follow their personal script. But here's the kicker. The more they try to control, the more out of control they feel. Why? Because attachment creates tension, and tension always leads to suffering. Think about how often your peace depends on something outside of you. If your partner texts back fast, you feel loved. If your boss praises you, you feel worthy. If your plan goes smoothly, you feel safe. But what happens when those things don't go your way? The mind spirals, emotions flare, and suddenly your entire state is hijacked. That's the cost of attachment, your inner power sold for temporary comfort. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting where you place your center. Instead of depending on things you can't control, you root yourself in awareness. You focus on what you can shift, your perception, your actions, your energy. That's where real control lives. Try this. Next time something doesn't go your way, instead of reacting, take 3 slow breaths and say, "This is not mine to control." Watch how different that feels. And when you finally start releasing that tight grip on how things should be, life starts to surprise you. You begin to move with it, not against it. And something else shows up too. A quiet kind of confidence. The kind that says, no matter what happens, I know who I am. And that awareness opens the door to a new kind of vision, one not clouded by fear or control. 6. Your perception creates your reality. Two people can walk through the exact same moment and come out with completely different experiences. One sees a challenge, the other sees a disaster. One finds a lesson, the other finds a reason to give up. What's the difference? Perception. It's not the situation that shapes your reality. It's how you see the situation. And most people don't realize their lens is fogged up with old beliefs, fear, and unconscious programming. Let's say you lose your job. One person might spiral thinking, I'm worthless. Another might say, maybe this is the push I needed to build something on my own. Same event, radically different outcomes. That's the power of awareness. When you can catch your thoughts as they arise and question the stories behind them, you reclaim control over the narrative you're living. This doesn't mean pretending bad things don't happen. It means choosing to interpret them in a way that empowers you, not weakens you. And yes, it's a skill, a muscle. It gets stronger every time you pause, reflect, and shift your inner dialogue. You can journal, meditate, or simply ask, what story am I telling myself right now? That simple question can flip your whole day. Eventually, you stop seeing life as something happening to you and start experiencing it as something happening through you. You realize your inner world is shaping your outer experience. And just when you think you've figured it all out, you begin to understand that mastering perception isn't the end. It's actually where the art of detachment truly begins. 7. Detachment is not coldness, it's mastery. Most people hear the word detachment and think it means becoming numb, distant, or uncaring, but that's not it. Detachment means you're no longer owned by your emotions. You still feel everything, love, anger, sadness, joy, but none of it controls you. It's the difference between being in the storm and being the sky that watches it pass. That's not coldness. That's clarity. Picture this. You walk into work and someone throws a passive-aggressive comment your way. Instead of reacting, you smile, not out of arrogance, but because you know who you are. That's detachment. It's the ability to stay rooted in your inner power even when the world tries to shake you. It's not that you don't care. You just don't get tossed around by every passing emotion anymore. You can practice this in small ways. Next time someone frustrates you, don't respond right away. Just notice the feeling rise, breathe, and observe. Tell yourself, this doesn't have to own me. The more you do this, the more emotional space you create. And in that space, you make better choices. You stop speaking just to defend your ego. You start acting from wisdom instead of reaction. Over time, people around you will feel the shift. You become the calm one in chaos, the one who doesn't flinch when things go sideways. You start radiating something deeper, a kind of silent strength. And while others are still chasing validation, you're standing in something far more stable. And from that place, something sacred begins to emerge, something most people don't even know lives within them. 8. The untouchable mind is your divine self awakened. There comes a moment when a man realizes the storms outside can't touch the calm within. That's not arrogance, that's awakening. When you stop depending on the world to feel whole, you meet the version of yourself that's always been there, quietly watching. That's not your personality, that's not your story, that's your divine self. Awareness untouched by the drama, deeper than any thought, older than any fear. You stop reacting, you stop chasing, you start creating, not with effort but with presence. Your energy speaks louder than your words. People feel it when you walk into a room. That unshaken stillness, and it's not something you fake. It's the natural result of dropping all the layers that never belonged to you. The masks fall off, and what's left is raw, magnetic truth. You know what's wild? Once you're no longer moved by praise or blame, wins or losses, people start coming to you for answers. They can't explain it, but they feel safer in your presence. That's the untouchable mind at work, not forcing life to go your way, but letting life respond to your inner alignment. That's power, not loud, not flashy, just grounded, real, and unmistakable. And now, when something tries to shake you, you don't even flinch. Not because you're trying to be strong, but because you are strong. You've remembered who you are, and once you taste that level of detachment and awareness, you'll never settle for being controlled by the outside world again. Because now, you're not just navigating reality, you're shaping it. If you want to elevate your vibrations and manifest with more ease, I have prepared something special for you. Click the link in the first pinned comment and join us in the journey of awakening your inner mage.